All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of Pick the Brain, brought to you by Perspective Wrestling. Today, we have one of my friends on, Chase Stegall, Maryville wrestler. He's a Division II national qualifier, Missouri state champ, ranked nationally throughout high school and college in the class of 2020. So, Chase, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys? How you doing?
Good. So, first, just talk about where you're from, where you wrestle at in college, and kind of your journey into college wrestling.
Yeah. I'm from Northwest High School. It's like Cedar Hill, Missouri. It's like 45 minutes from campus here at Maryville University, where I'm at now. Um, High school wrestling was cool. My freshman year, it was kind of me and Tyler, my older brother, every day. Like he was my main partner, and we did a lot of stuff on our own. Um, we did like So we'd like have practice, and me and Tyler would stay after practice almost like every day,
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like trying to evolve each other's minds and like our skill set and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And then Tyler went off to Maryville University, where I'm at now, and I then had 3 years at Northwest, obviously, and with Coach Wilhelm, Coach Egan, and Coach DOC. Um, it was good times. Had a lot of good friends there that I still talk to, and one actually is a roommate now.
Mm-hmm.
And so while Tyler was at Maryville, he had me up like since I was a sophomore in high school, and I'd go up there and hang out with you guys and you, Tyler, and Kareth, and kind of get involved in the culture out there and get to know Coach Denny. And ever since my sophomore year, I stayed in the dojo and really loved the culture and what the program was about. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where I ended up now at Maryville. So,
Yep.
yeah.
So to give you guys a little bit of context, I wrestled Division II at Maryville University with Chase. So it's a pleasure to have Chase on. But within my time there, I'm actually his brother's age, class of 2017. So within that time that I was there, Chase was still in high school when he was coming up to campus. So I want you to talk about, like, while you were in high school, try and put yourself back in that position. What things did you notice that you did differently, right, in high school? Things in high school were you doing, and then you got to Maryville, like when you were a sophomore or junior in high school, and you saw, oh, X, Y, and Z is a little bit different than how I'm training in my high school room, or this is a little bit different, or this lifestyle, and that could go for life, or that could go for wrestling. Just talk about the differences that you see between high school and college when it comes to life, one, wrestling, two.
Yeah, for sure. So starting off with kind of the life and kind of my everyday rituals of going to class and practice and hanging out at home with family. It was something that really caught my attention of Maryville was how identical the program at Maryville was to what we had at Northwest, to where it's a really tight family and the support system is so high, and kind of people around the town are all supporting for you. You go to the, I don't know, local gas station, and people know who you are because they went to the duel on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of what I really liked about Maryville is Maryville's it's a huge support system, I feel like. And like your professors know who you are because you're on the wrestling team. And so, yeah, I feel like that's how kind of the life thing was when I was in high school and kind of going up to the Maryville and visiting with you guys, Coach Danny, Coach Rio, and at the time, Coach Cat Haggerty. And on the wrestling side of things, you guys really taught me how to kind of not kind of like let loose and kind of let it flow. You guys always stayed. I remember going to your guys' practice. You guys stayed after practice and kind of figuring out situations and kind of like different techniques of wrestling. And that's what I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of you, Creeth and Tyler, like you. That's what you guys talked about. Like outside of the room was wrestling, and that I feel like that was always the main topic, even outside of the room. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of that's what I brought back to when I'd go back to my high school, and throughout the week I would do that with my training partners. That's what I tried to do was kind of base my practice and after practice rituals off you guys. So
Yeah.
that's it.
And with that, so as being a college wrestler, and basically what I'm hearing, you can correct me if this is what I'm saying, is as like a high school wrestler, you can find success. I feel like you're able to find success without having to be obsessed with the sport. And in college, even I saw that like you have to become obsessed with the sport, whether that's like if you're watching the world championships, if you're talking about practice and the live goes that night or the next day, like being obsessed with a sport isn't just showing up to early morning weights, showing up to practice, and doing the things that the coaches are asking you. Being obsessed with the sport is taking it upon yourself and your group of friends and creating that culture um, that like lives. You're a wrestler right now. Like you're on scholarship. It's your full time job, so you're living that life right now. And I think it's super important to not only just show up to the practices and show up to the weights, but like throw on a couple matches on YouTube with your when you're sitting with your friends at night and just talk about the matches and being able
Sure.
just to break down wrestling and look at other people's wrestling and say, I want to do that, or I don't want to wrestle like that, or I want to score points like him, or I want to so just stuff like that. So yeah, along with that though, just becoming more obsessed with the sport. What other things? What other specific things do you feel like you needed to change from high school to college? Maybe one thing, like it could be technique, weight cut, weight management, like or time management. So whichever. What do you think? Just the biggest aspect of your high school wrestling needed to change once you hit college?
Yeah. I would say my answer is kind of vague, but it's really true. Was kind of coming into college and being a true freshman starter. The size difference was crazy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like going into college. I'm a true freshman, 18 years old. I'm wrestling 24-year-olds with like men. So
Yeah.
it was kind of staying in the weight room and making sure that I was wrestling with those older guys like Bailey Kelly and Logan Raddick and
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Sherritts. So kind of getting the feel of wrestling those older, stronger guys was something that I had to do from changing from high school to college.
Yeah. So right, you're wrestling older guys. So you came in, you're wrestling older guys, you're wrestling All Americans, guys that are at your weight that have more size just because they're more mature, right? You're 18, 17, 18, 19 years old wrestling these 23, 24-year-old guys. So talk about, you're obviously going in there and taking lumps a lot. Like you took your butt beatings, and as does everyone else who comes into college and wrestles, like you take your butt beatings. You kind of get woken up a little bit. To say not really though, like, but talk about. I want to hear your mindset, like through your freshman year of college, or maybe when you were even a senior, your summer, your senior after your senior year, you're coming in, you're kind of getting your butt beat by these guys. So talk about how like you push through that. Not only like okay, I can accept that I'm not there right now, but just talk about you pushing through that and kind of the mindset behind that within college.
Yeah, I remember. I remember my after my senior year going into my freshman year of college is when COVID was kind of shut everything down. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember there being a barn open, like an actual barn and at Thoroughbred Wrestling Academy, and they just threw mats down. And actually, the Maryville guys would come out and they brought like 2 carloads. And I remember Bailey Kelly coming out and Logan Raddick, I believe, came out too. And I remember like those guys just beat me up one practice.
Uh huh.
And this is after just wrestling the guys at Northwest and not really getting my butt whooped and making sure that I was pushing myself. And those guys beat my ass, and I was like, all right, this is the real deal. It's
Mm-hmm.
time to buckle down. And not even, I didn't let it like scare me
Mm-hmm.
or make me afraid of what the year was going to bring me.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn off those guys and learn what they did in the
Uh-huh.
mat and what they did off the mat as well. So
I think that's huge. Is like you brought up, me getting my butt beat did not scare me. Like it motivated me, and I think that's like a huge difference maker within like college, probably all college sports, but for sure college wrestling. Like you go in there one day, the reality is that you might get taken down and cut like 6 times in a row. Nobody's feeling sorry for you. You're getting tripped. You're getting pushed around, pushed into the wall. Like nobody feels sorry for you. So I think that's like one of the biggest, and like that's a trait builder right there. Is like you go through something like that, you have two choices. You can quit and you can be scared and you can be like, okay, I'm just gonna be a backup third string my whole career, or you can say, you know what, I can be better than those guys. Not only can I be better than those guys, like I can do it better than those guys, or maybe not even that, but I want to learn from these guys and become better than them. Like yeah, just learn from them and become better.
Sure.
So I think that decision right there is super big. And to anyone watching at home, especially if you're a senior in high school, like you better be ready. Just expect it now that you're going to take your lumps when you come into college, and that you have two decisions: you can quit, or you can shy away from competition, or you can run at it full steam and learn and grow and get better than those people that are beating you, because it's completely possible. Um, but yeah, so moving more into away from practice and away from training, I wanted to break more into like the tournament life of a college wrestler. So firstly, let's talk about weight cutting and things that like you do maybe that you found like that you've put into your ritual of weight cutting. So just talk about your experience weight cutting in college, maybe your opinion on like your weight cutting experience in college, your opinion on weight cutting and just in general within wrestling now.
Yeah. So throughout high school, I'd never really had to do any weight cutting, unless it was like for 32s or journeyman or things like that. And then I got to college and kind of got a little bigger my freshman year, and especially the after my freshman year of college, I made sure to lift a lot, and my weight actually kind of blew up and made it tough for me to make 97,
Uh huh.
which it's cutting weight sucks, but it pays off.
Yeah.
As much as hard as it is to go through,
Uh
it
huh.
pays off, and that's kind of what I try to keep in mind when I have to get the last couple pounds off, or can't have the extra meal or extra drink that I want to have. Kind of keeping in the back of my head that it's going to pay off, and I'm doing it for a reason.
Uh
You
huh.
know.
And then obviously, like there's ways to do it correctly, right? There's ways to make yourself die and struggle, and there's ways to do it correctly. So talk about what kind of foods are you eating like in the morning? Kind of give us your like schedule. Say it's Monday before a tournament, or maybe even Tuesday before a tournament. You wake up. Kind of run through your schedule with food and meals and water throughout the entire day, just to give people just a real look on like what exact foods you eat or things that you prefer. So yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I do is Monday I'll kind of I'll have a regular breakfast, and I'll have a regular lunch, and then um, I make sure to stay on my carbs. It kind of like makes me feel good and energizes me.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that I make sure to stay on top of no matter what until it's time to cut it out is water.
Yeah.
I make sure to drink at least a gallon of water on the Monday through Wednesday
Mm-hmm.
before we have the tournament on Saturday. I like it. I don't know. I think it's almost mentally for me too. It like gives me a feeling that I'm kind of cleaning out my system and
Yeah.
um, getting ready for what's to come with the weight cut on Thursday and
Mm-hmm.
Friday to come on Saturday. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say, to summarize it up, I'd say staying on the top of water and um, obviously not gorging yourself and eating the right foods, um, and the right amount of courses as well. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I would say. How I adjusted to the weight cutting stuff and like for a duel or tournament on
Uh
Saturday.
huh. And then like going off that, like keeping a consistency, because within the week that you have the tournament, like you also have 5 practices that you have, like you're not just going to practice to lose weight, you're going to practice to get better at wrestling, because you have to constantly improve. So the one thing I was gonna add to that is I feel like being consistent and being in a routine, like you said with the courses. Like one day I can't eat a ton for breakfast, and then I have to starve myself at dinner because and then the next day I'm eating a lot at dinner and not eating a lot at breakfast. I think like routine and building like whether that be different foods, right? Like one morning I might eat eggs, one morning I might eat cereal or oatmeal, but like you're kind of keeping that same amount of food each, like you know how much energy you're gonna have after you eat each meal, which like I think is super important. And then along with that is like the water, like you need water. Like you obviously need water. You need water to compete well. You need water to practice well. But I think people don't know the amounts of water that they need to drink to be fully hydrated or to hydrate themselves for like a day of classes and practice. So you're on gallon, is what you're saying?
For sure,
Gallon
yeah,
Monday,
at least.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and then talk about
Yep.
Thursday with water.
Yeah, so Wednesday, before practice, I kind of, so I drink all the amounts of water I want up until after practice, um, Wednesday, I believe, and then or maybe I think it's Thursday, where I stay on my water until Thursday after practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's where I start watching my water. But yeah, up until Thursday after practice, try to drink at least a gallon a day.
So then
So
after practice on Thursday, are you stepping on the scale and then like drinking water? Do you have a set amount you drink on Thursday, or are you just kind of
yeah,
going off how much you weigh?
yeah, I usually do like a pound of water, and then as weird as it sounds, like a pound of food too.
Yeah.
And what we usually try to do on Thursdays is pasta. Like I said, carbs.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes me feel good and energizes me
Yeah.
for Friday's practice and classes. So
Yeah, that's good stuff. Hey, if you're in high school right now, you should be listening it up. This is really good stuff right here. But moving on in high school or college or kids club, whenever you're cutting weight. But moving on from this, let's get more into the tournament aspect. So you got your weight cut down, boom, you weigh in. Talk about like everyone has nerves and feelings going into a tournament, especially a college tournament. Like you're feeling the pressure. You're trying to get like secure your spot, whether that be at the opens in the beginning of the year, maybe in the middle of the year. You're wrestling in big varsity tournaments, like trying to place and get yourself ranked in the nation. Talk about the pressure of those kind of circumstances, but talk about how you work through the pressure and make that pressure into something positive for you, so you can go out and perform well.
yeah, for sure. Like you said, the nerves are always there, and kind of the butterflies or whatever you want to call it. I remember my coach Egan, my coach in high school, and actually Coach Denny too. They both said the same thing to me. It's everyone gets nerves. It just tells you that you're ready. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I try to stick to throughout tournaments and whatnot. Kind of like you said, like trying to get ranked and kind of like live up to the hype, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What I tell myself is kind of like, screw that. Like, this is what I do,
Yeah.
like this is what I've done since I was little. So I'm just going to keep on proving myself. I like the feeling of kind of proving something and showing the people around me what I'm capable of.
Uh-huh. So, and for some people, I feel like they need to be like, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And for you, I'm hearing like what motivates you is like continually having a chip on your shoulder. Like, hey, I might have beaten you 3 times, but I'm going for my fourth right now. My fourth one means way more than my first one did. And I think that's actually a good idea. I know a lot of people try and lie to themselves and say like, I'm better, I'm better, I'm better, I'm this, I'm that. But like that's not like, I feel like when you put yourself in that position, you're kind of like putting yourself at the top and not like staying hungry. And like with that mindset, I feel like that you just explained, like you're
Yeah,
continually staying hungry. You continually have a chip on your shoulder. So like even when you win a national title, like you're going for your second. You're not. I
yep,
won a national title, but I'm going for two. One's worse. And so,
yeah.
but yeah, go ahead.
Something to add to that. Something my dad told me when he told all of us when we were younger. He'd always say, "There's a fine line between cocky and confident,
Uh huh.
and you got to flirt with it every once in a while."
Yeah.
So that's something I try to stick to too.
Uh huh.
Not being too full of myself, but still having that chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, and then another thing is too is I've heard many different sides of this. Like, um, I know for example, like throughout my career, like R125. I'm speaking to the audience here. I'm R125. Tyler Creeth. Like he was against music. Like he says that when he put headphones on, like he lost touch of what was going on in reality of like this big tournament going on around him. So like he was against, listening to music because it kind of brought him away from what he needed to focus on. And I know for you, like just because I was your teammate, like you love music. So talk about how you use music to your advantage to help calm nerves and like get your mind right.
Yeah, me and Creeth have we've had conversations about that and how he doesn't like music, and he kind of asked me like why I listen to music and stuff, and I don't know, like I like getting taken out of that, like out of like the so in the mode or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen to music that's gonna relax me and kind of give me that feeling of everything's gonna be all right no matter the outcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I understand the people that don't like to, listen to music. Like they like that feeling of like the pressure, I guess, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm different. I like to listen to music and get that feeling of relaxation before it's time to go.
Do you have like a specific kind of music you listen to?
Yeah. What was the Stolen Dance by Milky Chance? Wasn't that it?
Yes.
I was listening to that like all regional tournament last year.
So are
like,
you just a guy like you get on a song like it gives you a certain type of like vibe or energy like and then you're like I'll listen to this song a million times in a row. I don't need other songs like
yeah.
I'm the same
I'll blow
exact
that song
way.
out for the weekend for sure.
Yeah, like I'll listen to the same song for a month straight. Like I really don't
Yeah.
care if it gives me this certain feeling. Like certain songs like put me in certain modes and like yeah, I think it's really cool. And when you start to like break it down and talk about it more, like like my song's gonna be way different than your song, and like but like we both know that that's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that stuff's really cool. And then obviously like going out on the mat, so the final step in the process, like you wade in, you're getting ready for your matches, boom, you're going out on the mat, like what things are you focusing on within your wrestling to help you like you're going and thinking like okay when I get to the mat like I need for me like it would have been like I need to score more points or I need to turn guys so the big things like especially this year that you're focusing on that when you go on the mat like you're trying to execute the X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, something that my brother tells me is hands move, feet move, let it fly. So that's what I try to stick to and tell myself as I'm walking out to the mat,
Yeah.
I think things go my way when I let it fly and when I'm moving and when my hands and feet are moving, the outcome's going in my direction. So that's something that I keep in mind every match, every tournament.
Yeah.
So hands move, feet move, let it fly.
And I think that's like super cool because a lot of you're wrestling 197, like 197, it's really not hands move, feet move. So I think like you have a special ability to like outclass these guys. Like you're more technical than these guys. You're quicker, like you're faster, and like they're really not even much stronger than you anymore. Like you're mature now. So like I think that like that kind of mindset, especially with you at 197, like is gonna help you out a lot. And just like moving your hands, moving your feet, like these guys can't keep up. Anyways, going off that, like, just getting right into this point right here. You're coached by one of the best coaches to ever live. His name's Coach Michael Denny. So, Coach Denny, the story of Coach Denny, for you guys watching, if you don't know, Coach Denny used to coach at Nebraska Omaha. He coached there for a long span of time. I think it was 40 years he was coaching there. But Nebraska Omaha, they were Division II. So he had just come off. I think it was his 8th national title. It was like 7th or 8th national title, but it was his 3rd one in a row, right? This was in 2012. He had won his 3rd national title in a row. And that night, the athletic director at UNO, Trev Alberts, called coach and told him that they had to cut the program and leave immediately and clear the whole locker room. And obviously that was a huge story. Like if you haven't heard about that story in wrestling, you need to go look it up right now. It was like one of the most tragic stories. One of the best coaches of all time got his whole program and all of his accolades just ripped off the wall, ripped to shreds by some guy who doesn't even know what being a coach is about. He's just some loser on SportsCenter talking about football. Like good for him. But yeah, so anyways, coach picked up and left and moved to St. Louis, found a new home in Maryville University, which is like where we all went. But obviously coach, like, I think it's like 54th year, 53rd year. This dude has more life experience than anyone that I've ever been around. So like it's been Like obviously you get the pleasure of being around him every single day, and many people know who he is, and they want to look inside of like what being coached by Coach Denny is like. So just go ahead and talk about like what it's like being around one of the greats. Like just talk
Yeah.
about him for a second.
I couldn't ask for much more. You know, Coach Denny's done it all. Whether that's throughout life or throughout the sport of wrestling, you know, he's done all you can do. It's sometimes I'm like after practice or something, I'm like, damn, like I'm right by Coach Denny's side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Coach Denny.
Yeah.
You know, he's had all those records and he's went through all that crap and you know, and even built something else somewhere else outside of UNO, you know, and I don't know, like it motivates me and makes me want to do good for Coach Denny and makes me want to strive for better and you know give Coach what he wants and what I want as well. So I feel like you can't ask for much more when you're in Coach Denny's presence.
Yeah, so digging down more into it, like, you know, you call Coach Denny a coach, and when you think of a head coach, like, I think a lot of these high school guys don't really understand what head coaches' roles are within college programs all the time. Like, you look at Brian Smith, like, that dude's probably not showing any more technique. Like, a lot of these head coaches are, like, great businessmen, and they can bring in, like, great people to help their program. So just talk about kind of, like, the things Coach Denny does that people don't see, like how he is a great businessman, how he is like one of the most caring dudes like that like you'll ever meet. So talk about a couple of those traits that you think play into like his greatness. Maybe some specific ones.
I think those are the biggest traits that stick out to me and grab my attention from when I was just a young high schooler. For example, over summer I was kind of really stressing about what I wanted to major in and kind of what I wanted to do with after college and stuff like that. And I sat down and talked to Coach Denny after a summer practice, and Coach Denny was like, "Don't worry, we'll figure it out." And the next day, he had me set up having a meeting with somebody who's going to advise me about what I want to do and kind of meet with me and talk to me and reduce the stress that I had. So I don't know, Coach Denny's connections are like just amaze me, and you know his networking that he has. He knows everyone. Like you go somewhere with Coach, expect to be stopped. You know, over 5 times or so.
And I think a lot of just like quick Joel in. I think a lot of people are like. You see a lot of people who have a lot of great networks and a lot of great connections. Like you think of those people like, oh, they're probably manipulative. Oh, they probably like only are in it for their benefit. Coach Denny is one of the only people in life that I've seen that like has such a strong network and such a strong like community of people behind him. And like he didn't get that by manipulating or like telling lies or things that he didn't do. Like he genuinely built all those relationships and like whether it be a life coach like counselor at Maryville, like he knows these people and he's like connecting with them every day because I think that's what like he thrives off the most is like human connection and being able to help others. He's just like he says, he's like a builder of people, and so I think it's like an incredible opportunity that like a lot of people like some people don't even know Coach Denny, but like a lot of people that do know Coach Denny, they're probably like, I wonder what it's like being around him, and I think, yeah. And so just like speaking onto your point, like he has so many great traits and like he would do that for anybody on the team. Like it wouldn't just be like for his guys, you know, like it doesn't matter. And I that's what I think makes Coach Denny like the GOAT, like one of the GOATs of college wrestling for sure. I mean, 8 national titles, like
for sure.
Yeah.
And like going off that, he had, you know, Coach Denny has a team that he had 8 national titles with just taken from him after winning a national title.
Yeah.
And still finds a way somehow to, you know, care so much for every individual under his wing. So that's something that I really love about Coach Denny and what he created at Maryville. So
yeah, and so going off that, we're kind of wrapping up to an end, but I want you to talk about your goals for this year, not only your goals for wrestling, right? So if you go ahead and start with your goals for wrestling and how you're going to accomplish those goals, maybe a couple specific things that you've changed, like within a workout routine, within a technique routine, with any of that. So wrestling first, and then life goals. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah. So it's I want to be on the podium. I was there last year. I got to experience it, whatever. But I want to get on that podium and get to the top and beat those top guys.
Mm-hmm.
And by training hard and sticking to the routine and trusting what I have around me, I think I'll get there. And then outside of wrestling, I would say my life goals are just, like I mentioned, I just switched majors. So kind of learning about my opportunities after college within my communications major and building my network, and getting involved in the opportunities that are there for me.
Yeah.
After college. So
cool. And anything like any big changes like you've made within like life, that could be weight cutting routine, or any changes that you've noticeably made? Like you said, okay, last year you were a D2 national qualifier, dude, as a freshman. So like, you could look at it and be like, I did a good thing, or you could look at it and be like, I did an all right thing, but I'm way better than that. So I'm gonna change this because I see that this is wrong. So just lastly, just before we head off, talk about any changes you made at all.
Yeah, I would say something that I kind of stick to and plan to stick to for the rest of the year is remembering that feeling and thinking back on that feeling of when I didn't get the AA status last year and only made it to the show. And what I've kind of evolved from that is my mindset. Don't take anything for granted and believing in myself. And I think if I do those two things, I can achieve whatever I want to.
100%, and that's like every single workout. Like every workout has a purpose. Every practice has a purpose. Every meal has a purpose. Every conversation has a purpose, and I think that's super important. I think that just from seeing like the changes, like especially like your guys' house has made, like wrestling wise,
Sure.
especially you and your brother, like and like you guys are just completely like evolving as people, and it's like great to see, like, and I know you guys are gonna do awesome things this year. So, but yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Perspective Wrestling Pick the Brain episode 2 with Chase Stegall. But yeah, I want to have a lot of these guys as returning guests. I don't just want a one and done like a lot of these guys. Like I told Jarrett, I was gonna have him as a returning guest. So yeah, we'd love to have you back. First off, maybe like after you get a couple tournaments under your belt, closer to season, we'd love to have you back. But appreciate you coming on. You want to give any quick shout outs before we leave?
Yeah, I'll do a shout out to my family, my high school coaches, Coach Williams, Coach Egan, and Oos.
Oos. Later.
See ya.